The top stories tonight in Y News. The Philippine National Police monitors the 430 barangay officials involved in the illegal drug trade. Two political analysts believe that the coup plot against House Speaker Martin Robles has not yet over. The Department of Justice believes that Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Foteves Jr. is possibly behind the recantation of some suspects in the Degamo killing. And United Kingdom collaborates with leading artificial intelligence firms to ensure society benefits from the transformational technology. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, the 25th of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am William Theo. First in the news. The Philippine National Police is now monitoring 430 barangay officials involved in illegal drug trade. Interior and Local Government Secretary Benhur Abalos calls all barangay and sangguniang kabataan candidates to undergo mandatory drug tests. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police leadership confirms that there are 430 barangay officials involved in illegal drugs. PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. said the PNP is monitoring the said officials in preparation for the conduct of police operations.
We have data on that based on some dumarating po na information, and we are collating it. Although these are subject for evaluation, then although ang exactness is naglalaro yan, kasi depending on the reports come in, and sa update natin, there are more or less 430 plus na personalities. Barangay officials, yes.
Acorda added that the said barangay officials involved in illegal drugs are usually protectors, pushers, and financiers that mostly located in Region 6.
Itong mga personalities na to, they are included in tinatawag natin na high-value individuals, and yung iba is street-level individuals, yung mga operatiba natin sa baba. These are their subject for operations, mga intelligence-driven operation natin. And we are hoping, nababawasan naman to at nababawasan araw-araw. Hopefully, itong mga personalities na to, magdadalawang isip and titigil na. But also, hindi po titigil ay talagang they will be subjected for police operations.
Chief PNP calls on voters not to vote for candidates that are involved in illegal drugs.
I will take this opportunity to appeal to our would-be voters na pag talagang medyo may involvement ng mga elected, yung mga candidates natin, medyo wag na nating isama sa pagiging consideration for to become our next set of barangay officials.
DILG Secretary Benhur Abalos urged the candidates to undergo mandatory drug test prior to the upcoming barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections in October.
Siguro sa lahat ng tatakbo, we are fighting a war that is a global problem. A global problem. Kung gusto niyong tumakbo, malilbihan sa bayan, one of the biggest problems is drugs. Siguro magpa-drug test kayo, pakita niyo handa kayo maglingkod. I'm calling out to all candidates.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Two political analysts believe that the coup plot against House Speaker Martin Robles is not yet over. This is despite the denial of former President and now Pampanga 2nd District Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo of the said alleged plotting moves to oust the House leader. Nel Maribuhok reports.
Professor Michael Henry Yusinko, a political analyst, believes that the change of leadership in the House of Representatives is inevitable. This means that the issue on the alleged coup plot against House Speaker Martin Romualdez is not yet over.
The cast in this show are full of dynastic politicians. In fact, they're all, if not all of them, are dynastic politicians, and that tells me that all of them are instinctively looking out to keep their hold on power.
Former President and now Pampanga 2nd District Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo already denied reports claiming that she had been plotting a coup against Speaker Romualdez. Congresswoman Arroyo bared that she was vying for the speakership when President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. won the presidency, but she conceded when she realized that the president was most comfortable with his first cousin Romualdez as speaker. The issue on coup came after Representative Arroyo has been replaced as Senior Deputy Speaker by her province mate, Deputy Speaker Aurelio Gonzales Jr. Ramon Casiple, also a political analyst, convinced that Congresswoman Arroyo has continuously vying for a position in the House of Representatives.
Hindi necessarily sa same position, ano? May iba pa siguro na iniisip si Arroyo kung ano ang kanyang kukunin.
Speaker Romualdez in a statement said the House of the People is in order, pointing out that the lower chamber would not allow itself to be distracted from its work. This is amid concerns of destabilization from an alleged coup attempt to oust him from the speakership. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Justice believes that Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Foteves Jr. is possibly behind the recantation of some suspects in the Degamo killing. Dante Amento tells us why.
Department of Justice or DOJ spokesperson Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano said the camp of Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Foteves Jr. is trying to discredit the investigation into the death of Governor Ruel Degamo.
Siguro ang basa ko dito, play lamang ito ng kabila para siguro sirain yung kaso. Pero sa amin naman, dahil in-anticipate ho namin nito, ay sa tingin na ho namin, solid pa din ang aming kaso.
Clavano believes Congressman Teves' camp is the one behind the recantation of previous sworn statements by the suspects in the Degamo slay case.
Kasama na ho doon si Congressman Teves at yung kampo ho niya. Dahil patungo po kasi, no, lahat po ng ebidensya patungo sa kanya. So sa tingin ho namin, may konting laro yan para lang ma-discredit ang investigation.
Clavano added they already asked the court to transfer the suspects to another detention facility from the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI. This is to avoid individuals who may talk and influence them.
Dahil dito sa NBI, there were attempts, no, to talk to them. This former DOJ Undersecretary pumunta doon, kaya kailangan talaga natin mag-ingat.
Meanwhile, in an interview yesterday, Congressman Teves Jr. strongly denied the allegation that he is behind the recantation. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Super Typhoon Mawar could intensify further in the coming hours. According to State Weather Bureau Pagasa, as of 3 p.m. today, May 25, it is located at 2,000 kilometers east of southern Luzon, packing maximum sustained winds of 195 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 240 kilometers per hour. It is moving west-northwest direction at 15 kilometers per hour. According to Pagasa weather specialist Ana Clauren Horda, Mawar may enter the Philippine area of responsibility by Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. Super Typhoon Mawar may also reach a maximum sustained winds of 215 kilometers per hour. Based on the forecast track, the cone of probability includes mainland Cagayan. Pag-asa may raise wind signal in areas in northern Luzon in the coming days. The super typhoon is also expected to enhance the southwest monsoon that may bring rains over the western section of the country. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. assured the public that the government is ready for the possible effects of Super Typhoon Mawar. The chief executive said the national government is preparing for Mawar's possible onslaught in the northern portion of the country and in other areas as well. PBBM met with Department of National Defense Officer in Charge Undersecretary Carlito Galvez Jr., where he ensured that the budget and food packs for vulnerable residents are in place. He also assured that the response teams and local government units are prepared if the super typhoon hits their respective areas. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, ensures that the National Capital Region prepares for the impact of Super Typhoon Mawar to avoid casualties. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, and local government units in Metro Manila gear up for the possible effect of Super Typhoon Mawar, which is expected to enter Philippine area of responsibility over the weekend. MMDA and disaster units of Metro Manila LGUs will monitor cities for potential flooding. According to the MMDA, flood-prone areas include Marikina City, Quezon City, and portions of Mandaluyong City, as well as the Camanava area or the Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, and Valenzuela City. MMDA said the LGUs have already identified hazard areas and have been told to prepare their residents if they need to evacuate to safer areas. The agency will monitor the situation in Metro Manila on their command center.
Ma-inform po nila yung mga taong nakatira doon para po kung dumating yung bagyo at kailangan na po ay ililikas po sila sa mas safe na lugar.
The MMDA said their urban search and rescue team has been prepared already and will be prepositioned for immediate deployment. This is composed of 20 experts in water search and rescue operations. MMDA also have assets that can be used for rescue operations in flooded areas. These include fiberglass boats, aluminum boats, and rubber boats that can load 8 up to 12 persons. They also have military trucks and ambulance.
Titingnan natin kung kailangan ng prepositioning sa mga possible na area na mas posibleng tatamaan. So magpe-preposition na tayo ng ating mga equipment.
Earlier today, the MMDA and Metro Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Councils of respective LGUs conducted their meeting to capacitate for the Super Typhoon Mawar.
Kami po ay handa, mag-uusap din po kami sa possible deployment ng ating mga tauhan at mga assets.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For our news abroad. Days after capturing Bakhmut, Russia's Wagner Group threatens to pull out its forces from the front line of its leadership. Does not improve the handling of the war. Nerissa Dando will give us the details live. Good evening, Nerissa.
Good evening, Giona. The city of Bakhmut serves as the main battlefield of the war, and Russia's Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin have announced earlier that they have fully captured the city. However, Prigozhin said in an interview that almost 20,000 of his men was killed in the battle for Bakhmut after doing most of the fighting in the region. He warned that his mercenary group could start a revolution as early as next month if the leadership's handling of manpower does not improve. In addition, 2 Russian rebel groups have claimed to enter Russia's Belgorod region, and a commander from the group stated that their raid showed the weakness of Russia's defense. The rebels appeared to have withdrawn after Russia was able to deploy its forces to the area. The Ukrainian government said that it was aware of the events in the region but have denied allegations of being directly involved in the attack. Meanwhile, the government also added that its forces are intending to recapture the city and is currently launching operations to flank and surround the city. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Nerissa, for that live report. Saturn, which is known for its renowned rings made of space dust and ice-coated materials, are bound to disappear, scientists say. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Giona. Based on the data gathered by the Cassini space probe from 2004 and 2017, the material which make up the famous rings of Saturn are being pushed by meteorites into the planet at a fast rate. The studies published in Icarus also reveal the rings are much younger compared to the gas planet, likely forming around the same time when the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. As they are still considered young, the rings have not been eroded as much by meteorites and still have a brighter flare unlike Uranus. The formation of the rings still remain unclear. According to Richard Duricent, the lead author of the Icarus studies, the rings must have been formed by something extraordinary to form their structure. Meanwhile, the rings of Saturn, according to scientists, are only lasting for another 100 million years or so before disappearing into the planet. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Paul, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Giona. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The Senate leadership eyes to pass the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund, or MIF, bill next week before Congress adjourns. This comes after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. certifies Senate Bill 2020 as urgent. Senate President Juan Miguel Mig Zubiri says they will continue the plenary debates on Monday to accommodate other lawmakers who want to interpret. He hopes that the lower house will adopt the Senate version of the bill, which he says has been improved with more safeguards to avoid possible misuse. Petitioner and former congressman studies the filing of motion for reconsideration as the Supreme Court ruled out that water concessionaires should refund their corporate income tax to customers. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Supreme Court has ruled out that the Maynilad and Manila Water are barred from passing on to consumers their corporate income taxes as operating expenses. Supreme Court also declared that water concessionaires cannot exceed their rate of return or the investment's interest to 12% to ease the higher water rates.
Ang rate of return nyo sa investment, kumbaga ang tutubuin nyo sa investment nyo, ay hindi dapat lumampas ng 12%. So, yun na yung magsiset ng rates nila eh. Kasi minsan, sabihin nila ang rate of return namin 18%, o di tataas ang rate natin.
According to petitioner and former Bayan Muna Representative Nery Colmenares, the Supreme Court stated that water concessionaires were not obliged to return the corporate income tax as the prescribed filing period ended. He added that they are still studying on whether they would file a motion for reconsideration as they advocate for a refund for the billion pesos of corporate income tax.
So, ano nang mangyayari doon sa binayad nating income tax? Ang panawagan, syempre, ay i-refund naman yung mga nabayad ng taong bayan kasi billion-billion yun.
Meanwhile, Maynilad accepts the ruling of the Supreme Court and asserted that they did not include the past and future income taxes. The Manila Water states that they excluded corporate income tax since 2013. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, led by Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr., filed over 60 tax evasion complaints worth 1.8 billion pesos before the Department of Justice this morning. The respondents in these complaints are illicit tobacco traders across the country. The complaints were based on simultaneous raids conducted in January 2023. Lumagi stated that some of the tobacco products seized were counterfeit, along with fake documentary stamp taxes. The BIR also issued a warning to other illegal traders to cease their activities.
Ang sigarilyo kasi ay dapat niyan, bago kayo makapagbenta niyan, dapat bayad ang excise tax niyan. So bayad dapat ang buwis niyan. May stamp na nakadikit dyan sa mga sigarilyo, doon sa pakete ng sigarilyo, katunayan na bayad ang tax nito. Ngayon, itong mga nahuli natin nung nakaraang January 25 na raid ay yung iba dito walang stamp, yung iba dito ay peke ang stamps na kunwari pinapalabas na bayad ang tax pero sa totoo hindi.
The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, approves the release of 25.16 billion pesos to Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth. According to Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman, this is to cover the one-year health insurance of more than 8 million qualified Filipino indigents enrolled at PhilHealth. Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, will identify the indigent persons or those who have no visible means of income or whose income is insufficient for the family. The 25 billion pesos will be sourced from the FY 2023 General Appropriations Act, or GAA, in accordance to Republic Act number 11936.
Passengers and tourists in France traveling via domestic flights on short routes have been obliged to take the train instead, following the implementation of the ban. Jane Robles will tell us why live. Good evening, Jane.
Good evening, Giona. In an effort to reduce airline emissions, France has formally announced a ban on short-haul flights that can be covered by train in less than 2.5 hours. The French government aims to reduce their share of carbon emissions by 40% by year 2030, and as such, short route flights will no longer be offered. Air trips between Paris and regional hubs like Nantes and Lyon are ruled out from the ban as they are both 5-hour drive. Meanwhile, critics called the move as a symbolic ban, which would only have minimal effect on carbon emissions. Airlines for Europe, or the A4E, said the government should support real and significant solutions, highlighting its own net zero strategy by switching to jet fuel from non-fossil sources and deploying hydrogen-powered aircraft. Air France has already complied with the ban in exchange for a 2020 coronavirus financial support package, reports say. However, some airlines had asked the European Commission to investigate whether the ban was legal. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Jane, for that live report. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with chief executives of tech industry leaders, OpenAI, Google DeepMind and Anthropic last night, May 24, to address the disinformation, national security risks and existential threats posed by AI technology. The meeting comes a day after Esther Lynch, the General Secretary of the European Trade Union Confederation, warned that humans must stay in control of such technology. There is also an increasing concern from the public and the governments around the world following cases of fake AI-generated images, AI photography, mimicry, cloned music tracks, as well as its effects on education. According to Professor Albert Sanchez-Grales from the University of Bristol, the UK public sector is already using AI more than anyone realizes, and without oversight, it is impossible to understand the risks. The tracking automated government register has so far tracked 42 instances of the public sector using AI, with many related to detecting sham marriages and fraud against public accounts, as well as prioritizing access to housing benefits. UK prison officers and police forces are also utilizing algorithms to assign newly convicted into risk categories and trialing AI-based facial recognition. In March, Britain said it would share responsibility for regulating AI between existing bodies for human rights, health and safety, and competition. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Giona Privado, live from London, United Kingdom. Good evening.
Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte announced during the Partners Convergence event held this morning at the National Museum for Natural History that she will be visiting Brunei Darussalam and Singapore in the coming months. This visit is part of her duties as the President of the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization. In February of this year, VP Duterte was elected as the President of the organization, and her term will end in 2025. SAMEO is a regional intergovernmental organization that promotes cooperation in the fields of education, science, and culture.
Hopefully, we will be able to learn from the two countries' best practices in the area of education and the other SAMEO member countries.
Days before Congress adjourns, Senator Robin Padilla admits that his proposed charter change has reached its end. Padilla, who leads the Senate panel on constitutional amendments and revision of code, says only his four party-mate senators have signed the committee report. The neophyte senator is now banking on the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund and the implementation of the Public Service Act to spur economic growth. But if it fails to usher in foreign investors, Padilla says he will not think twice to refile his bill. The lawmaker had been pushing to amend the economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution.
Sinabi na po nila noon na talagang walang future yung ating panukala. Kung naghihingalo siya, ngayon namatay na. Madali naman akong kausap pero siguraduhin mo lang na yung mga sinabi mo ay mag-work. Kasi pag hindi yan nag-work, balik tayo uli dyan sa file ko uli yan.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. It says, "Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners." And those are the reasons behind the news, May 25, 2023, reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Kami po ay handa, mag-uusap din po kami sa possible deployment ng ating mga tauhan at mga assets.
Titingnan natin kung kailangan ng prepositioning sa mga possible na area na mas posibleng tatamaan. So magpe-preposition na tayo ng ating mga equipment.
The cast in this show are full of dynastic politicians. In fact, they're all, if not all of them, are dynastic politicians, and that tells me that all of them are instinctively looking out to keep their hold on power.
Hindi necessarily sa same position, ano? May iba pa siguro na iniisip si Arroyo kung ano ang kanyang kukunin.
Siguro, ang basa ko dito, play lamang ito ng kabila para siguro sirain yung kaso. Pero sa amin naman, dahil in-anticipate ho namin nito, ay sa tingin na ho namin, solid pa din ang aming kaso. Kasama na ho doon si Congressman Teves at yung kampo ho niya. Dahil patungo po kasi, no, lahat po ng ebidensya patungo sa kanya. So sa tingin ho namin, may konting laro yan para lang ma-discredit ang investigation.
We have data on that based on some yung mga dumarating po na information, and we are collating it. Although these are subject for evaluation then, although ang exactness is naglalaro yan, ano, kasi depending on the reports come in, and sa update natin, there are more or less 430 plus na personalities. Barangay officials. Yes, yes.
Kung gusto niyong tumakbo, malilbihan sa bayan, one of the biggest problem is drugs. Siguro magpa-drug test kayo, pakita niyo handa kayo maglingkod. I'm calling out to all candidates.